A luta continua. It is not over until it is over, and the battle continues, ladies and gentlemen. Today, when a 3-judge bench, that is Justice Lawrence Mugambi, Justice Christine Moyoli, and Justice David Majanja, sat to rule on the Finance Bill 2023, declared the housing levy unconstitutional, and they declared that the government cannot continue to take money from your salaries in the name of the housing levy. Kenyans went over the moon with joy because part of the reason why Kenyans even went to the street to protest was this housing finance. And Kenyans continue to ask the president, why are you forcing us to have your houses? But when this happened, the government unleashed their lawyer, George Murugara, to appeal against this ruling, and they requested for a stay order for about 45 days so that the government can continue collecting money in the name of the housing levy.
Allow me kindly to confirm that we are aggrieved by the findings as regards the Kenya Roads Board Section 76 and 78, the Unclaimed Assets Act, the Statutory Instruments Act, and especially regulations thereunder, which possibly are in force today but may expire if that order is enforced, some of which are on revenue-raising measures, and Section 84 of the Finance Act, in which the housing levy has been declared unconstitutional, and a declaratory order has been made to stop the respondents from collecting the levies. Allow me to apply for a stay or a conservatory order for 45 days. In those 45 days, I urge you to suspend the operation of those particular findings in the judgment and any decree that may flow therefrom, pending the filing of a formal application under Rule 32.2 of the Mutunga Rules, as they are popularly known, and eventually under Rule 5.2b of the Court of Appeal Rules. The justification is as follows.
Could you go over that again, please?
Yes.
You're asking for?
A stay or a conservatory order for 45 days as regards the portions of the decision that has aggrieved the respondents, and in particular, it is a Kenya Roads Board, Section 76 and 78, the Unclaimed Assets Act, and the Statutory Instruments Act amendments, which have been declared unconstitutional. Also, Section 84 of the Finance Act, which has been declared unconstitutional as regards the housing levy, and an order has flowed therefrom, stopping the respondents from collecting the housing levy. So the reasons why we ask you for this is, first and foremost, especially for the housing levy, we have to make the necessary adjustments to the government procedure of taxation so that no party, no arm of government, no officer of the government is sued for contempt, because that has been annulled as from now, while it is in the public domain that in fact the levy is being collected as we speak. There may be also irreversible loss, and especially if on appeal this section is upheld. Because the reason is that this is a consumption tax. It's money that is being spent to exactly do what the amended act states, which is to try and put up housing for citizens. There would be actually no prejudice on the part of everybody who has paid housing levy. This is because, as the Court of Appeal observed in its ruling herein, civil application number E304 of 2023, any party aggrieved by payment to the government of these levies can actually get rebates for overpaid taxes and levies. So those applications can be made and the monies possibly will be refunded. Now, we also have another reason why we ask you for this, which is serious irreversible economic consequences in the operation of the arms of government, and especially when it comes to affordable housing. It is vitally important that this is preserved for a while as the government considers the next alternative after appeal or rectifying the law, the flaws in the law, as the court has identified that in fact there may be nothing wrong with the taxation itself. It's only that we do not have in place proper laws that are supposed to guide the policy. Therefore, with those remarks, I do pray that you grant a stay or a conservatory order for only 45 days, by which time the respondents will have taken a decision on how best to move, either to the Court of Appeal or to have enacted the proper legislation. Thank you.
No, we deal with the respondents first.
The respondents.
Kenya Revenue.
The government considered the request, and some 3 hours later, after their earlier declaration, they gave the government the conservatory orders. And it's been reported widely, housing levy deductions to continue as court grant stay order to the government. The High Court has granted stay orders on the implementation of the judgment that rendered the housing levy unconstitutional. A 3-judge bench consisting of Justice Lawrence Mugambi, Justice Christine Meoli, and Justice David Majanja made the ruling on Tuesday, hours after declaring the levy unconstitutional, null and void. This is what they say, that an order of stay B is hereby issued, staying the effect of this judgment issued today, November 28th, the year 2023, pending the filing of a formal application for the stay of conservatory orders in the Court of Appeal. That was Judge Majanja who ruled. This order of stay shall remain in force until January 10th, 2024. That is the stay order. The government is so much determined to ensure that they are not letting go this money that they are deducting. For the period between today and 2024, the following will happen. 1. William Ruto and Madam Koome will sit and they will forge a way forward. We can draw lessons from the time Okiya Mutata went to the High Court against this act when it was passed by Parliament. The High Court ruled and suspended the implementation of the housing levy. The High Court ordered that the government could not continue or could not begin collecting these taxes. And the Attorney General, acting on behalf of the government, went and appealed. And the High Court, the Court of Appeal, suspended the ruling of the High Court. And of course it went even to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court sided with the president. We have always said here that there is a kind of a state capture that have never been seen before. The executive will always have their way. And so, for the period that Murugara has been given this temporary stay, I must tell you that they will run to the Court of Appeal. That is number one. Number two, these three judges might be transferred from their areas of jurisdiction, like it happened to the judge who suspended all these declaration. Earlier today, the deputy president had issued what looked like a request, but it was an intimidation, that if the three judgment was going to rule against the finance bill, then that was tantamount to sabotaging Ruto's agenda. And you see, when a deputy president calls something sabotage, that is a serious crime. Because when you are found to be trying to sabotage the government, that is a serious crime. And so the executive is trying to tell us that the three-judge bench is acting in sabotage and they don't want the government to move on. And so when this goes to the Court of Appeal, I have a feeling, and our fears could be confirmed, that the Court of Appeal might quash the ruling of the High Court. There is a lot of intimidation behind the scenes, and the judicial independence is something that cannot be tolerated in this government. It has to be the executive's way or the highway. And this is the reason why these three judges declared that the housing levy is unconstitutional. Then hours later, they come up with another ruling that they have given a stay up to 2024 for the government to continue collecting money that they have declared unconstitutional. Is there any other explanation if it is not intimidation? I know phone calls were made here and there, and the relationship between the judiciary part of the government and the executive is so cordial that William Ruto will always have his way, because Kenyans, had celebrated only for that celebration to be cut short just a few hours later when they're being told that hii pesa yako itaendelea kukatwa. The government is hell-bent on ensuring that they enrich the pockets of a few people. I remember when this thing came up, two things happened. Number one, what they called public participation. Yes, it was there. But Kenyan had declared that they were not ready for this. They told the government, you can wait. But the government ignored them. It was like the public participation was not taken seriously. And number two, after being ignored, the government forced their way. The government forced their way, and you remember what happened in Parliament that led to the passage of this bill. And they started implementing it by force. So the kind of intimidation, because even the judge who ruled was also transferred, it means there's a lot of intimidation. And the judges are not free. There's a lot of micromanaging. Do you remember recently, some of the CSS complained that they are not given a breathing space in their offices. Some of very crucial changes are taking place in their offices without their participation. Now, how do you think that the government can allow judges to act independently, especially on a matter that the government has got a lot of interest? The judges who ruled might not be happy now, because this might just, take them to another level, rubbing shoulders very negatively with the executive arm of the government. And one person who's implementing all this, I have a feeling, is the head of the judiciary, the president of the judiciary, Madam Martha Koome. She's the one who implemented that. It will be very easy. there will be a lot of transfers here and there, and judges will be reshuffled within among the judges, so that those who are trying to act tough or acting on behalf of the of wananchi will not have their way. I don't know why the government, because people have cried foul already. Even if the government, the judges took away the levy, they have been given, they were left with the 18%, the 16% levy on petroleum, on fuel. Why can't they just have that? Because even that is enough thorn that is on the shoulder of Kenyans. I'm waiting for the day when there will be judicial independence, there will be a legislative independence, because as it is, all these are answerable to the executive arm of the government. From what Gachagua said, it seems the rulings are being forced, and in fact, in the next ruling, this might be just written down. Someone will write for them, so that they just come and read. And so the happiness has been temporarily stopped. We have to wait for 2024 as the government continues to collect this money. No one is assuring us of the safety of the money, because we have been told there's a lot of wastage in the government. We have seen what is happening with the deals that people are making, those who are close to the president. And so as usual, Kenyans will always have to decide. We either sit back and watch as the government, play around with our money, or we take action to pressurize the government. As for the opposition, let no one go to the street. Wacha kiumane until those who elected this government understand that choices have got consequences.